The current climate is one of a kind of question mark. Everybody's asking, is this the end of the bubble?
Right now, it's that moment when the party's ended and somebody's kind of flicked on the lights and you don't know how the rest of the night's gonna go.
I wouldn't say that we're in a significant downturn right now, but there's no question that the market has turned. Every time that the market starts to get a little bit more frothy, there's somebody out there that's saying it's a bubble. And everyone wants to be the person who calls the next bubble.
A downturn, a softening, whatever you want to call it. I think everybody's been trying to label this market since Q4 of last year, even longer. It's a mistake to even call it a bubble now, in my opinion. We need a new word.
I start with the premise that a slowdown isn't necessarily a bad thing. You need a little bit of scarcity to get people focused.
We had sort of a bubble, a mini bubble that didn't quite pop, which is good, where the market got overvalued. There were too many unicorns, too much money flowing into startups.
We're seeing upstream markets starting to tighten. We're seeing deals take slightly longer to close, so we're definitely seeing a tightening of the market.
What we've seen is this sort of contraction of the number of growth rounds where, nosebleed valuations that were paid back in 2015 are no longer there.
The thing that you read in the papers is, the sky is falling and the end is nigh out here. It's not what we see. Down rounds were 3% of all rounds of funding a year ago, and they're in the 20s now.
For the companies that are able to raise money, even if that money is at a lower price than the last round, so the dreaded down round, if that money gets them to an endpoint where they're self-sustaining, then it's absolutely worth doing.
There's a big fuss around down rounds, and there's a stigma, in the market for anyone who goes through that. The down round is better than going bust.
The supposed bubble that we've had over the last couple of years, it's been called a dry bubble as opposed to the bubble in 1999, 2000.
How was 1999 different from 2016? Radically. People felt like they needed to rush out to the internet and stake their claim.
I lived through the bubble in 1999 as an entrepreneur. That bubble, a lot of those companies went public.
When the ball drops on the year 2000, it will be a momentous event for the world and for the U.S. economy, which is closing in on its longest expansion ever.
It was a public market, and it was a tech-driven bubble.
Really bad behavior was happening across the board. There were many, many companies that were highly unprofitable that were being taken public by bankers, that it was almost like if you got allocated IPO shares, it was like making money for nothing.
The first dot-com bubble collapsed, left a scar on a lot of older tech workers.
The difference here, companies are just not going public, and that's another problem.
You have a lot of companies that should have gone public still being valued at private valuations.
Lacking a healthy IPO market, the capital kind of gets stuck at the companies. And so I've called this capital constipation.
As a consequence, investors are getting very hesitant and very nervous.
If you look at the great kind of tech bellwethers, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, much of the kind of economic value of those companies was available to the public market. One of the things I worry about is the unicorn market has become very selfish.
I've had clients that were painting a picture of 50 to 100 billion in their expected value someday. That is changing.
It really begs a question of, how are you actually going to make money on these companies? Because to go public, you're actually taking a step backwards in valuation.
If you look at the leaders in this trend towards staying private longer, people talk about Facebook, but I think you can even look before Facebook at Google, who was really brought into the public markets somewhat kicking and screaming.
Now we're almost in the anti-unicorn sort of movement where people will sort of try and get below $1 billion valuation because people have become extremely skeptical and snarky about a unicorn valuation.
I think as things slow down, the rate of change slows. It's like the top of the roller coaster where you kind of get there, you're still going up a little bit, but you feel the dippy feeling in your stomach.
If you look at history, every 8 to 10 years, you have a recession. We're here.
Everybody's looking for a bubble and looking for the end of the bubble. That means greed is winning over fear right now. But fear isn't gone.